Hello, welcome to another tonal landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called The Winding Way. It's 11 by 14, and I painted it this last week. I'm real happy with it. Now, obviously, there's a full-length version that's going to be it's going to be over there on the old Substack Studio Pass area, and I think it's pretty good because we're going to get some good teaching in that. Also, it's in the Golden Archive on the YouTube as well. But I'm trying to push you guys over to the Studio Pass because you got the searchable transcript, you got the palette, you got all that stuff. Anyway, we'll talk about more of that later, maybe. I don't know. Let's talk about this painting. So, I painted this scene, pardon me. This will be the third time. And all three are on the channel. So if you were industrious, you could go find them. I'm not going to link them below. But let's talk about it. So the first one was like a 5x7. I was really stoked with it. It was this basic reference image. I've had it for a long time. It was taken when I was in France, and somewhere around this scene is the River Seine, or Seine. I don't know exactly how you pronounce that. But it didn't have the path in it, and when I was able to get a good path in there, I was thinking things were clicking. And that 5x7 came together, and then I started working on the new series of books I'm doing. And I just kind of threw that in as a cover. The problem was that I'd be scaling it up. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll paint it again. And I did that as a 9x12, and it came out all right. You would find that story on the channel. It's about, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. Fast forward though, it's going to be a 4-volume series, so I needed 4 covers, and I found the cover for the second one in an older painting. It's perfect. All of them I wanted to have these kind of path through the forest into a clearing kind of feel. As a consistent element. So that one was set, and then I have actually done like 4 or 5 paintings trying to get something that I thought would be good. I was able to get in the last week or two another 2 set up, and real happy with. And then the problem is that the 9x12 I'd done 3 or 4 months ago just had a bit of a stiff quality. And if you've been following the channel, you know I'm really into trying to keep things loose these days, especially with the foliage over the sky, which is, you know, one of the toughest things to paint. I'm sure you've found that. And it's one thing when there's a bunch of sky and just a tree. It's quite a lot more difficult when there's sky and tree is nearly equal proportions. And well, my strategy has been in the past, which has worked intermittently, I will say, is to design those shapes, because I know one truth, and that is that everything in the painting has got to be designed. But ultimately, I think I've come up with a better process, which is to keep things quite loose in the drawing stage, and even more so when I'm coming in with the darks, and then really start that defining process of what is sky and what is foliage when I come in with the sky elements. And now what you're seeing me do right here is the mixing for this session. It'll take a minute or so we'll just keep talking. Yeah. I have, as I promised, been endeavoring to just record my palette with each painting session. I can't say that I'm always going to hit that every week. In fact, there will be videos from my archives that I may want to pop in there now and again that won't have the palette. So don't get spoiled, yo. But I have been wanting to do it. I've been wanting to do that for a long time because I know a lot of you guys are hungry for color mixing. It's a challenge for you, and you know what? Just do those paintings, do your best, and color mixing is one of the least of the challenges. I'm sorry. It's maybe a challenge. It's a challenge earlier on, but the greatest challenges of landscape painting are compositional, hands down, and I still mess up and ruin paintings to this day with compositional problems. Yeah, so there's that. But you take on each set of problems as you can, and The thing is like you don't wait for the problems to be solved to create the work. You create the work, and then some things are going to work out, and some things won't. And this is a perfect example. This painting is loads better than the last version. The last version is a good painting. I'm proud of it. I'm not going to destroy it or delete it or anything. But it isn't going to make it onto the cover because I have a better iteration of it that has a looser feel and approach. And the byproduct of the looser feel and approach is, on the positive side, paintings will take less time to do. On the other hand, since you are kind of you're sort of sailing into the chaos stream, so to speak, without having things defined, there's maybe a greater possibility for you to fail. But, nothing ventured, nothing lost, or some sort of metaphor. When nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Nothing gained. Nothing ventured, nothing lost. That's also true. Anyway, another problem in the other one was I didn't have much going on as far as differences in the sky. I thought, oh, I'll just do the solid sky thing. And that has worked for me in the past, but I didn't think it worked that well there. And again, the main thing that was bothering me was the way that the tree shapes were interacting against the sky. They were just felt too graphic and too design. Now, graphicness is a quality that's a part of my work. The graphic quality is always going to be in evidence. I can subsume that, and one of the ways I do subsume that is through the iteration and addition of extra details. But so when you strip that part of the process away, you're left with a bit more of a graphic feeling. But you know what? I don't mind. I'm embracing that because, oh yeah, well, we're going to get some subtle stuff in this video. You're going to have the ad for the book coming up in 1 second. We're going to talk about some things I want to try and give voice to that I'm sure you experience. Now the book, well, we've been selling a lot of books. I'm so gratified, especially since I had to bump the price up a little to adjust for shipping and inflation brought about by that. But the book is my big solid attempt at a how-to for tonalist painting, and it was not going to be replaced or subsumed by the new book. The new book is an extension thereof. Yeah. So let's talk about it. One of the things I notice in my mind is when I've broken into some new territory, which is, it gets harder to do the longer you paint. But I've been on the cusp for months or weeks now, months, whatever you want to call it, of this loose thing, this paradigm, and that's been. You're gonna go, Mike, you've been talking about that for years. Yeah, but I'm finally getting through. And when you look at a reference, what goes through your mind, right? And for me, it's like, I can break it down like this or that, and I will have this sort of approach. And I've been looking at some old references that were paintings that didn't really succeed, but many times I'll go back to those references because I'm existing on a little different plane now. So maybe I can go after that and make a good painting, But the principle I'm trying to describe is an interior outlook, and you have it too. Trust me, you may not be giving it much credence, but you should do, because when you look at that reference and the ideas that well up in response to how you're going to paint it, are you going to be able to succeed, all of this stuff, they're really absolutely critical. It can save you a ton of time if you're looking at the reference going, oh, I don't think I can manage this or manage that or manage the other thing. It might be a time, I'm not saying throw that reference image away, but it may be a time to wait on that one and go after something else that will be a little easier for you. Now, I'm not saying, Uncle Mike is not saying that you should only do things that are easy for you. You should constantly be pushing the envelope and going after scenes that are a little more difficult for you to accomplish. But if you go too far, all that happens is misery and failure. And now a certain amount of failure is fine. And how do you know? Well, you're going to have to make some attempts and you're going to have to fail. And then you'll go, okay, that kind of thing's a little past where I'm at. I don't think I've got the ability to master that. But make a note of it, keep that reference, and keep going with the things that you know you can do, and keep moving towards being better at doing the things you can't do. And here's a perfect example: the foliage over the sky when we're in like a covered, sheltered area moving into a clearing. You've been seeing me paint that forever, and I've succeeded in a lot of cases, and in other cases I could have succeeded better. I guess that's where I'm coming from. And so this approach, you can see where it's a lot more loose, abstract, and we never got into actual defined or designed shapes in those areas. They end up taking on characteristics as shapes, but they were not overtly designed to be shapes. Do you see the distinction? Yeah. And as far as that interior thing, you just watch your mind. And if you take my number one advice, of course, is to paint all the time. That will solve just about every problem you have. I'm not going to say that every painting you do is going to be great. That's not what I'm saying at all. More what I'm saying is that if you paint all the time, you will find ways to solve problems through dint of experience. And you could take in information from dozens of different sources. It's so easy these days on YouTube. I don't really worry about who else is in painting YouTube, putting up videos, because I don't know what can I do about them. I'm going to be hanging out with myself, and I got no choice about that. So I do the best I can with what I do, and I don't worry about what other people are doing. But for those of you that are just looking for guidance and instruction, and who can blame you, there's a world of it out there. And I was talking in the last easel talk. We got another one coming up next week too. It's going to be good. I think in the next one I'm going to talk about the principle of momentum. Anyway, the last one was about process. And I've got my process. It's maybe very similar to other people's processes. In fact, gosh, I've been doing this so long now, there's probably people that have adopted aspects of my process and then gone on to perfect it for their own personal needs. And that's really what you should do. And I'm not saying to you that I have the best process of any painter going. What I have is a repeatable and consistent process that works for me. And I'm vocal about sharing it, and I'm vocal about pointing out why it works, why it is a good foundation for creating paintings. And what I would encourage you to do is, if you're a painter starting out, if you are bouncing from painter to painter and getting all these different insights and instructions from all these different dudes or dudettes, as the case may be, yeah, that's going to just end up mixing you up and getting you a bit sideways. So I would settle on the process. For me, it was pretty early. I started with old Kevin McPherson, and then very similar to him was Bob Rome, and that was the process I ended up adapting to do all my paintings. And Bob Rome would do a little underpainting with a burnt to sienna. What Kevin McPherson got me into was starting out with a limited palette, which solves that color problem. And I will point out, probably in the next week or so, I did just put up in the Substack Studio Pass area, there is one, my initial tutorial that I did that's extremely teachy. It's in the line of limited palettes. It's there. I didn't bother putting a copy of it on YouTube. I think we got to be careful these days, you guys. I want all of you to support me and help me as much as you're able to. But on the other hand, I never want to be Mr. Spammy, Mr. Here's half a video. Oh, you want the rest? Go over here. On the other hand, if you have some means and you want to learn more about painting and you like where I'm coming from, you should support me on Substack. I think you'll really enjoy what's going on there. And it's all getting ready and primed for the new book coming up. And I've got an editor on board. It's definitely happening. Anyway, that's it for this week's video. Until they come back with another video for your edification and enjoyment, hopefully for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor, take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones, and stay out of trouble. And obviously, we need to fight the power.